name's Alex. This is a presentation on the paintings I've been doing the last 2 years. I'm going to read the first paragraph of my artist statement in the interest of time and go through some work that I've been doing. The matter between our ears pulses with neural electricity charged by excitation of color and shadow. Visual experience is localized in our cognition. Color is registered in one location, line and depth in another. I directly stimulate these processing regions of the brain. I build paintings back to front in a process of strict accounting. I mix gradients and sequences of varying hue, volume, and saturation. I then apply tape and masking fluid to canvas to create networks of thin stripes that intersect at slanting angles. The color-modulated lines weave together and produce animated patterns that simultaneously call cabaret curtains, a stovetop flame, and the spectral vibrancy of the aurora borealis. I put my Instagram on the bottom because that's where I'm mostly updating my work these days. So just some research. I took a neuroscience class last semester and found this image really interesting, which is kind of where and how our brain processes color and line and stripes and thin stripes. And I also noticed, I bought this evolutionary psychology book and it had a Joseph Albers painting used as the cover. So it started to make me think about the relationship between emotion and cognition, or thought and feeling. Another example of like an Albers neuroscience crossover. This is an original Albers screen print at the Haas Art Library, and then an image of the same Albers exercise used to demonstrate something about the way humans process color in our eyes. And so I've sort of brought that idea of color being psychological as a sort of real connection between the internal and the external world as sort of a psychophysical phenomena where it's something both outside and within us, and I find that to be a really potent metaphor for sort of understanding and honoring our connection to the world. This is a recent painting called Minimal Context, where you can see sort of form and formlessness, creating pattern, and also creating sort of dissolution. Another one, Termination Shock, where I'm playing with the idea of red, green, and blue as the sort of primary colors that the human retina can see, and so it ends up having an overall sort of luminosity effect, kind of reflective, and I think it sort of mimics the form of the oyster shell that appears in the bottom third of the painting. Another one called Shadow Walk, which definitely has more sort of that feeling of the aurora borealis, and it's really amazing to work with color and find all these sort of resonances in nature. There's a piece called Oxytocin, and thinking about sort of granular color experience and cognition and how that can relate to things like dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. And if there is that sort of connection between thought and feeling, or emotion and cognition. It's up right now at the Yale New Haven Health Hospital. So that was really exciting to be able to share some of this stuff that I'm doing with a broader audience, especially in the context of care. A painting from Thesis called Violent Heart, thinking about, again, color combinations, optical mixing, and simultaneous contrast, and the way patterns line up, or disentangle, or create grids or lines, and thinking about how that's also part of how our perception of experiences that we go through in the world can either feel orderly or disorderly, the difference between cognition and perception, thinking about things versus experiencing them. And finally, these are some installations from our MFA thesis at Yale. It's going to be restaged at Jeffrey Deitch on July 9th, if anybody's in town. You come see, there's a few other painters here that are going to be in that show. Yeah, and this piece called Flesh and Blood and Faith Creator. So yeah, thanks so much. I'm really excited to be here.